Hello, I'm on a bus this time. This is Kenny Ken, and it's the opposition view. Well, what a week for Tottenham Hotspur. Firstly, fans wanting a manager out, your manager that is, after a 2-2 draw at Turf Moor. Now I watched quite a bit of the game. I'm scratching my head as Spurs didn't run away with it in the first half. They created a lot of chances, created a lot of openings, and to be honest, played quite well. And then disaster struck, nearly a last-minute goal from Romero. You know, I was basically one of those guys from the outside thinking mischievously that Spurs should keep him, but deep down, as a football person, I don't know how long it can last, because there was dominance at Turf Moor without a shadow of doubt. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know, when I watch Spurs play, because we had the same thing at Arsenal, it's like someone's just sucking the joy out of the way you play. Yes, you haven't got Kulusevski. Yes, you haven't got players like Maddison. And obviously Bentancur's out again. But surely, when you've got packed stadiums, and also the 62,000 at your ground, surely you could play with a bit of panache. I think I always look at Spurs, and Spurs were always like push and run teams. You know, 1951, the team that won the league was push and run. Obviously 61, push and run. We used to always have banter in North London amongst Arsenal Spurs fans that, yeah, Arsenal were hard to beat, but Spurs played a football. And under Thomas Frank, you're not really seeing that. But alas, yesterday in Europe, good away performance. I was at the Emirates Stadium watching us play Carrot and Marty, but watched the highlights. The Spurs professional, clinical. But you know, my submission is that the league is like the school term for Spurs, and the Champions League is like the school holidays. Like, it's a bit of metamorphosis. I think where Spurs do really well with all the English clubs at stake is that they play a very aggressive, athletic style, and that benefits them in Europe. Whilst in the league, they play teams that can play that way, and that's probably why Spurs have got a bad record, 2-14. Anyway, massive gain against Man City. Obviously, I'm a neutral. Obviously, you know, I have no interest in that game. Nose coming out, but it's a good opportunity for Spurs to get that win. But it's going to be very hard. Man City got grit between their teeth. They're now in the qualifier for the Champions League proper, just like Tottenham, and it'll be very, very hard. But you don't want a situation where Man City go a couple of goals up and then you start playing. That's going to be a recipe disaster. Anyway, see you.